All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is, when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. This is a difficult thing for us to acknowledge, but sometimes we choke, meaning we find ourselves face to face with the opportunity of a lifetime, and for whatever reason, we just fail to meet the challenge. It could be in a professional setting. You got this really high profile client, or maybe not even a client, maybe at your job, you get to facilitate this important meeting, or maybe in your you've been living in apartments in the hood, your whole life and your whole adult life, and something opens up and you get to rent a house in an upscale neighborhood with a really fantastic school system, or maybe you get finally into a relationship with somebody who has their act together, they're emotionally mature, they're purpose driven, and they love you, and they respect you, and they admire you, right? um, Whatever the case may be, you find yourself in a situation where the standards of excellence are higher than what you're used to. And so now your best just isn't good enough, right? You're doing the best that you know how, but it just doesn't make the grade, right? Maybe in that corporate environment where you're making this presentation, you're used to talking to people who are at your peer level, and you want to show off that you know all this information. So you're doing the razzle dazzle, and you're putting all this information out, and you got data, 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 data. But when you get to the C level being chief, officer of finance, and chief of finance, and chief of personnel, etc. When you get to that level, they're not impressed by this big display of data. They want you to get the data, analyze it, and then present them the pertinent information that would allow them to make decisions, right? So the more information you're giving them isn't really working in their favor, right? So you don't know how to handle that. You're freaked out, like, oh my God, I'm used to being able to you know give all this information, and that's impressive to people. But you get into another environment where everybody knows a lot of data. Can you analyze the data? Can you package the data? In the instance where perhaps you've moved into a different environment, and you got your child in a more prestigious school where higher standards are the norm. Hey, you know what? Maybe in the school where you came from, if you just sent Junior to school every day with his backpack and his notebook, he was already going to get a B, because the average student in that environment wasn't doing that. And so now, just showing up every day with your materials is not enough. Your child has got to do more, which means you've got to do more. You've got to sit down with him or her, and you got to go over homework with them. You got to read their materials. You got to sign it. You know, what I mean, they're more. It's more rigorous. And now you're seeing, like, oh my goodness, I thought my child was the smartest thing, or that I had it all under control. I got to revamp my whole life in order to gear my child to perform in this academic environment, right? Or in a relationship, you may be used to somebody who's having a meltdown every 2 weeks. They're struggling to pay their bills. They're borrowing money from you. Their car is breaking down. They're having some kind of problem that necessitates deep intervention. This person is constantly, you're used to dealing with people who are always in crisis mode, who are in reactionary mode. And you get with somebody who's got a vision, somebody who's got a plan, somebody who's got order and structure, and someone who's requiring that you do the same. Now you have to start to, re-examine what you're doing, and what it is that you do that adds value, right? How do I add value to your life when you don't necessarily have problems? You got goals, you got vision, you got aspirations. How do I prove my worth? How do I feel my worth in relationship to you when I don't see that you have problems? right? These are just sort of the scenarios that would evoke within a person a kind of a crisis because you come into a situation where things, like I said, your best now isn't good enough. You've got to do more, right? Sometimes instead of doing more, people panic and they opt for what's easy. When they see that the standards are higher than what they're used to, instead of enhancing their skills, instead of becoming more adept at what the situation requires, they will opt to fall back upon what is convenient and what's easy and what's familiar. Because for some people, it's just preferable to be a big fish in a small pond than to enter into the big sea and then get your weight up, your intellectual weight, your financial weight, your organizational weight, your emotional weight. That's a whole different kind of a challenge, right? But if you want to continue to reach the heights of your potential and fulfill your destiny, then you're going to choose the options that cause you, that require you to stretch, that require you to dig deep, that require you to do the things that you don't necessarily even you may not have realized that you would ever have to do, in order to thrive and to become a better version of yourself. And so, um, I really pray that Shonko and Oya will continue to guide me personally to reach the higher levels. When we think of Shango and Oya, we think about lofty aspirations. We have Ogun or Baluaye, for example, who are deities who govern from the ground up. They are earth deities, and they govern the physical, tangible kind of efforts that are required to push physical things forward. Likewise, when we look at Shango and Oya, we're talking about divinities who rise above it all, who elevate themselves into the heights, and they look down upon it all. They have a bird's eye view of the situations. I pray that Shango and Oya will continue to elevate my perspective. And when I want to make myself, when I want to downgrade, when I'm tempted to downgrade my environment, when I'm tempted to downgrade my habits, when I'm tempted to go the low route and the easy route and the convenient route, I pray that Shango and Oya will continue to elevate me, to bring me center stage, to bring me to the higher level where I can overlook it all and choose the route that will bring me to the heights, choose the route that will bring me closest to the most elevated position. And I pray that as it is for me, so shall it be for you. Because this is a message for the leaders. This is for the folks who want to transform the world through positive influence. If you're one of those people, then I want you to find out how Obafemi Origunwa and the Orisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice in your life to the highest level imaginable. If you're one of those people, visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com, and let's start working together to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to it. Bye for now. Whatever.